Kilalanin natin ang official new look complete lineup ng Rain or Shine Elastopainters para sa PBA 50th season. Point guards: Andre Karakut, veteran star, 5'8", 180 pounds, 29 years old, 11.7 points, 1.9 rebounds, 3 assists, 0.4 steals, 37% 3-point shooter, 75% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Anton Asistio, 5'10", 175 pounds, 30 years old, 6.3 points, 1.2 rebounds, 1.7 assists, 0.1 steal, 43% 3-point shooter, 75% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Adrian Nocum, star player, 6 feet, 167 pounds, 26 years old, 15.2 points, 3.6 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.1 steals, 0.2 blocks, 28% 3-point shooter, 69% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Felix Limetti, sophomore, injured list, 6'1", 170 pounds, 26 years old, 6.4 points, 3.1 rebounds, 3.6 assists, 0.3 steals, 17% 3-point shooter, 92% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Shooting guards: Gian Mamuyak, rising star, 6'2", 165 pounds, 26 years old, 12.3 points, 3.6 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.4 steals, 15% 3-point shooter, 82% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Sean Ildefonso, 6'2", 198 pounds, 27 years old, 3.9 points, 3.1 rebounds, 2.3 assists, 0.1 block, 20% 3-point shooter, 75% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Stanley Pringle, new veteran star via free agent signing, 6'1", 185 pounds, 37 years old, 13.2 points, 3.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists, 1.1 steals, 37% 3-point shooter, 80% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Small forwards: Jonard Clarito, rising star, 6'2", 187 pounds, 29 years old, 11.7 points, 6.7 rebounds, 1.6 assists, 1.2 steals, 0.5 blocks, 40% 3-point shooter, 72% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Gabe Norwood, playing coach, 6'6", 190 pounds, 40 years old, 5.5 points, 4.4 rebounds, 1.4 assists, 0.6 steals, 36% 3-point shooter, 70% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Mike Malonzo, sophomore, 6'3", 185 pounds, 25 years old, 5.3 points, 3.9 rebounds, 0.4 assists, 0.4 blocks, 18% 3-point shooter, 82% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Power forwards: Leonard Santillan, 6'4", 210 pounds, 29 years old, 12.9 points, 7.8 rebounds, 1 assist, 0.8 blocks, 28% 3-point shooter, 52% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Kailan Kyung-son, rising star, 6'5", 204 pounds, 33 years old, 13.2 points, 5 rebounds, 2.4 assists, 0.7 blocks, 38% three-point shooter, 58% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Chris Porter, 6'5", 195 pounds, 30 years old, 3.4 points, 1.3 rebounds, 0.6 assists, 18% three-point shooter, 80% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Philippine Cup averages. Centers, Bo Belga, team captain, 6'5", 280 pounds, 38 years old, 2.3 points, 2 rebounds, 0.3 assists, 50% three-point shooter, 50% free throw shooter, 6.7 minutes per game in his PBA 49 Philippine Cup averages. Kit Datu, 6'8", 220 pounds, 29 years old, 7.1 points, 4.1 rebounds, 1.2 assists, 0.3 steals, 0.6 blocks, 37% three-point shooter, 86% free throw shooter in his PBA 49 Philippine Cup averages. Luis Villegas, injured player, 6'7", 215 pounds, 28 years old, 2.5 points, 2 rebounds, 0.5 assists, 0.5 blocks, 25% three-point shooter, 40% free throw shooter in his PBA 49th Governor's Cup averages. Jeo Chu, draft prospect, this PBA 50th draft, 6'10", 220 pounds, 24 years old, 7.3 points, 5.8 rebounds, 0.5 assists, 0.5 steals, 1.3 blocks, 61 field goal percentage, 56% free throw shooter in his ongoing 2025 MPBL 7th season averages. Ito ang official new look complete lineup ng Rain or Shine Elastopainters para sa PBA 50th season.